It is surreal. I mean, we were moving about in life as if there was no tomorrow, and now the reality hits, and then you find that everything can be put on hold.
And who knew that this was quite, even possible?
Yes, New York, the city that never sleeps. Go there. Everybody's indoors.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
So I just want to thank you so much for just taking the time. I know that you, like me, we're sitting at home
Yes.
trying to make the best of the situation. I was having a look at your numbers yesterday. They may have changed, but it looked at like 313 confirmed.
Yeah, that's right. That's right, yeah.
So I assume, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, that your passenger services are not running either.
We haven't issued that directive, but what we know is that the president's announcement took cognizance of the fact that the most vulnerable will be the most affected by a complete lockdown. So in that regard, he made some partial exceptions. So for instance, he excluded the railways and road contractors from the restrictions. The other thing was intercity commuting is not allowed. In other words, you can leave Accra and go to Takoradi or Accra to Kumasi. That's not allowed. But intracity, i.e. within Accra, is allowed. And so if you make that allowance, it means, for instance, taxis and Uber can operate, except you should have no more than, I think, one passenger in it. And that passenger must have a pass, i.e. must be authorized to be on the road anyway.
Yes.
Yeah, and same thing for what we call trotro. Trotro is the commercial heavy carriage commercial vehicles, the ones that take like 30 or so passengers, either in a bus or minibus or whatever. Now, those ones have been given strict rules also in terms of distancing. Where you used to take like 6 passengers in a row, you probably can take only about 2 now in a row, kind of thing.
Okay.
So same applies also on the train. Yeah.
How are you managing that process of ensuring that there are only so many people on a train at any given time? I mean, it must be quite a nightmare.
Well, the thing is, we do have what we call train managers or train assistants or attendants, as it were. So the selling of the tickets is where it starts. So at the station to get in, there's a strict protocol in ensuring that in each coach, on each row in the coach, they don't have, let's say, maybe there's an allowance of 2 people sitting by virtue of how the coach seating is arranged, that you have no more than, let's say, 1 person sitting on a seat where it ought to be 2, because the 2 is a crowd, so that sort of thing is maintained. Yes.
Okay, so let's get into some of the things. So I think the last kind of update interview I did for Ghana was actually with Benjamin in October last year during Ports and Rail Evolution. I know that you guys have got some new projects on the go. You're almost through appointing for I think it's the Burkina Faso interconnection.
Yes.
And you've got Transnet involved as well. So where are you guys? What's happening?
I mean, incidentally, COVID-19 has brought the world to a stop, but still we have certain functions going. For instance, the president of Ghana, in his address to the nation, where he first introduced the partial lockdown, where, like I've already indicated, he made exceptions, including the Ghana Railways, that we can go to work. So yes, the whole idea is to minimize person-to-person contact. And so even before the president's announcement came, I had already sent my staff home anyway, because this is a public health, hazard. And so you really don't need to wait for a directive in that regard. I mean, If in an office there are about 5 or so people, that is certainly not conducive for good health under these circumstances. So yes, works have carried on, including the fact that the office is now literally shut down. But I do go into the office now and again. Senior managers who need to go in time and again, they do go in. Accounts department, they do go in time and again. But the idea is that you are not going into a full office. You are not going to a routine daily attendance at work and that kind of thing. So in that regard, we had contract discussions ongoing when this lockdown came about. And so we've endeavored, in some instances, to use Skype, to continue such discussions with the potential contractors. So that Monday, who we are looking at giving a continuation, because already Amandi is doing 22 kilometers on the Western Line up to Manso. And we are looking at signing another or an extension from there to a place called Huni Valley, another 48 kilometers from Manso. And those discussions are being held on Skype because we've got a directive from home in Israel, their head office, that they should not attend any meetings at all in hotels or, for that matter, in any crowded room or even semi-crowded room. Just stay away, use Skype. So they have those directives. And then with AFCONs who are doing our, Tamati and Pakadan line, we are also in talks with them for starting a line from Kumasi, headed toward, on the Western Line for 17 kilometers. On that one too, we've advanced in discussions. We had to stop when we were all sent home. So these things involve a number of things, including the availability of, let's say, the minister. So yesterday, for example, was to hold a meeting, and today, but Parliament was recalled urgently yesterday and today. He's a minister and a parliamentarian, so he had to go. So we had to reschedule that meeting to next week.
Yes.
So with the Ghana Burkina Faso one, as you know, the first tranche of it is the Tama to Impakadan. That's the first tranche. And incidentally, one of the Indian contractors on that line was found to be infected by COVID. And so that has brought about a complete shutdown of Camp B. We have 2 camps on that line that the contractor operates from. With the shutdown of Camp B, that would necessarily affect project continuance.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So in this era we're in, nothing surpasses the health element. So this is where we are. I mean, we are functional insofar as I'm able to still hold interviews. I'm still able to talk to the contractors, the consultant, to my deputies like Ben and co. As regards what needs to be done. If there's an urgent letter that needs to be signed, can it be scanned and sent to me to scan and send back to you? This is how we operate. So we are remaining functional, but of course, eliminating the person-to-person contact as much as possible.
All right. So there will be delays, but not too much.
There will be delays. I mean, we have already gotten notice from the Indian contractors that with the shutdown of Camp B, incidentally, the project has advanced to where Camp B becomes operational. And now with that wholesale shutdown by authorities, they've given us notice about the fact that it means the project will stall until that situation is resolved. So what will resolve it is this thing called contact tracing. So they've done a mass testing of people who might have been exposed in Camp B as a result of that individual who was found to have returned from India and to be infected. The president, in his last address a couple of days ago, did mention that in a week's time we should get all results back from the mass testing, and that will the science of it will inform whether or not the lockdown, which is due to expire on Tuesday, will be extended or not, that kind of thing. So yes, things are slowed down, but not halted altogether and stuff like that.
Okay, fantastic. You guys are working with Transnet on a project. How's that going? COVID aside, how's the project going? Where are you at with that?
With Transnet, it's a joint effort between my authority, Ghana Rail Development Authority, and my sister company, the Ghana Rail Company Limited, who are the operators. So really and truly, because the GRDA is the asset owner, we of necessity have to be involved in any discussions relating to lines and traction and all the rest of them. So, but the relevant questions that are being posed by Transnet going forward are questions that are being actively answered or addressed by Ghana Rail Company Limited. But most of them have to do with operations, and the operations function lies with Ghana Rail Company Limited. With me being in the know, because we have a joint communication platform. So they address the question to myself because I'm a co-signatory to that arrangement. But then I do, of course, liaise with my sister company MD. Say, I hope you're addressing these questions because they fall square in your domain. So, for instance, anything to do with the state of a locomotive, that will not be a question for me because that is really under operations, that kind of thing. Yeah. So that one is active in terms of there's a joint steering committee comprising Transnet Executive, the GRDA, and the GRCL. And going forward, Transnet needs some fundamental questions answered, and that is where we are. So those questions are posed, and the answers are being delivered to Transnet to inform them about next steps and stuff like that. Yeah.
All right, and in general, when life kind of returns to normal, I mean, fast-paced, what's next in terms of upcoming projects?
Well, like I said, there is the extension to the Amandi existing contract, which is ongoing, because we rescheduled the meeting from yesterday to because Parliament is sitting as of yesterday and today. So tomorrow being Good Friday, it's a bank holiday. Monday is a bank holiday. So Minister said I should schedule for Tuesday and Wednesday. So Tuesday will be AFCONs, and then Wednesday will be Amandi. So he said whether or not the president lifts the lockdown, we will be meeting on Tuesday and Wednesday to go forward with these pending contracts. And I believe the same thing with the Ghana Burkina Faso one, where we're down to 3, and we were optimistic that the first quarter or into the second, we should be able to come out with the winning bidder. One of the 2 deputy ministers that's his remit, and the minister himself, I think, he joined what is called a team of eminent persons. That's how they so called it.
Yeah.
Between the two countries, to tie down things and to ensure that we are all in sync, and we're both in sync. And then, but COVID has, like I said, put a downer on everybody and everything. So in that regard, I don't think I have much more to offer other than to just say when this thing all blows away, then there will be active resumption, because there is definitely the goodwill between the 2 countries to get that project going.
Yeah. All right. So as I said, I just wanted to touch base and see where you were at, see how you guys were managing COVID. Every country in Africa has got a slightly different approach. So it's just really interesting to see. And then also just to understand how it impacts, what your development goals are and the projects that you have on hand, because obviously there is a very large supply base who is, sitting, waiting to get going. And this obviously has a direct, the knock-on impact is unbelievable.
Yes. It's interesting. It's a relevant question as regards how is it impacting us. Like I said, the president in his very first address omitted road and railway construction workers from the list of, from the general blackout, as in everybody stay home and go out. So we have that free pass to go out to carry on with the construction work. Of course, construction workers are not on their own. They must have the contractor guiding them. The contractor is not on his own. He must have the consultant working with him. The consultant is not on his own. They must have a client, and that's GRDA. Yeah. So by extension, if you say real construction workers are exempt, then of course the GRDA execs are exempt. So in that regard, much as everything is slowed down, we are using good sense. We may be exempted to go to work, but like I said, not at the office level. At the office level, you're not construction workers, so please go home and stay home. And only functional managers who are required, particularly on a construction basis, not administrative basis. They, if need be, need to go in. And that's maybe one officer or two, and that kind of thing. And when you're going out, please carry your pass with you in case the police or the soldiers stop you on the road. If this is your pass, and advice to also have a face mask, that kind of thing. That sort of basic advice is issued to ensure that this work goes on.
Well, it's a very different time.